Welcome once again to another episode of the 4 Degrees podcast. Today it's a beautiful day outside and in the studio. We have a guest and we have Almustaqim in the room. He is from the 2024 cohort of the master's program that we're all part of. And he's just finished his exams, guys. So this is going to be fun. We're actually going to learn a lot about like fresh things that we always say we forgot. I think it's going to be like ironing it out for us. So I don't know if I should introduce you or you're going to introduce yourself, how you like to be introduced.
Well, you can introduce me.
Okay, so we're going to bring it to you. Who are you? And yeah.
It's a pleasure to join you guys on this podcast.
A pleasure to have
just
you.
to correct 2025 cohort.
2025.
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah,
Ooh.
we started this year.
Oh.
My name is Almustaqim Balogun. I'm from Nigeria. I am a climate communication professional, and I work in the intersection between promoting access to education and also climate change. And I'm going to study climate change.
Yeah, it's really interesting
Yeah.
that we have a communications person on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is your background like academically communications?
Nah. I think my background was on biological sciences. I studied biology in school, specifically plant biology. It wasn't my interest from the start, but then it was as a result of the education system in Nigeria, where sometimes even when you get the right qualifications, you may not get
The proper job.
the course because of the limited spaces.
Yeah.
So I got into plant biology without no interest, but then I get to like fall in love with the aspect of environmental sciences, climate change. But with regards to communication, after school, I was very much interested in advocacy. So, and also media and international development. So I tend to like build my capacity in communication field, my writing. I was also part of journalism while I was in school.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that was why I kind of like started my communication background. And I've had a chance to like work with different organizations, both local and international organizations, supporting their communication and policy efforts. Yeah.
Okay.
So did you do the master's straight after your bachelor's or honors, or were you working in between? It sounds like you have did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think I graduated in 2019 from bachelor's in plant biology. So within 2019 to 2025, I was actively volunteering with local organizations and NGO to promote access to quality education. So also within this period of time, I was also working with international organizations to promote energy and also climate change.
Yeah.
I think some of the organizations I worked with was Student Energy, which was an organization based in Canada. I also work on site in Austria in Salzburg Global Seminar, where I worked as a communication intern to promote, to support the public administration team. And so it was during this period of time that I found core interest in climate communication, to bridge how I can be able to like bridge the climate conversation between science, policy and public, because it's always an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I love the diversity of like where you're coming from biology to communications to policy to advocacy. It's like a
Jambalaya.
Bouquet.
a bouquet of flowers, of different flowers, just not roses.
But to be pleasing
I'm-
jambalaya.
I'm particularly interested in right now what you've just said, that did this then lead you to pick the ACDI masters?
yeah. So I've always knew that I needed to like advance my studies, because I knew bachelor's degree wasn't enough. Because having a master's degree not just gives me an opportunity to build my skills and understanding, but then it positions me to get to the place I want to be able to like enact so much changes. You know, all those United Nations job, EFDB, they requires masters. So if you don't have masters, you have no chance at all. So for me, I was very interested in pursuing my studies, and at the same time, I knew I needed to fund my studies.
Yeah.
So funding was a very big issue for me.
Yeah.
So I started applying for various scholarship. So I was very lucky enough to get the Mandela Road Scholarship.
That's very prestigious.
Yeah,
It is very prestigious, and
Yeah,
it
it
actually
is,
has
yeah.
like that diversity is
Yeah.
what they really need.
Interestingly, it was my second time applying.
It was the
Because-
second time.
Yeah, because the first time I got to the interview stage, I didn't get it. And for Mandela Rhodes Scholarship, they fly you in for the interview. But I wasn't able to come during the first time because of visa issues.
Yeah.
But the second time, they flew me into Cape Town. So I was very lucky, and I prepared very well for the interview, and I got it this time. So I think they played a very critical role because they fund my studies, my living. Cape Town is beautiful, but it's very expensive. So they fund all aspects of my my being in Cape Town, and I always wanted to like study in the best universities, and for me, University of Cape Town was the first choice, and most importantly, the Climate and Development Program, ACDI, because I found the intersectionality between the focus more on intersectionality, so interconnectedness between climate change and various other fields.
Yeah.
So in ACDI, you can find maybe you have a background in economics, maybe law. You find different people from different fields in your class.
Yeah.
So I always knew, okay, this is the right place for me, and this is the place to begin to continue my career.
And climate change space is a very good space for advocacy.
Yeah.
Because you are advocating for change in the way that we're doing stuff now. So I want to ask you about your dissertation or your research interests. Would you say that it's related to climate communications or advocacy?
Okay, so like I mentioned, I am very much, I've been promoting access to education and also climate change. I love access to education because I work with I come from a community where like so many people are marginalized when it comes to education, and I also share the belief that the most important weapon is to like provide education to people, empowerment. And so I've worked with shout out to KLCI, one of the organizations I've worked with for years, where we promote access to education to marginalized communities. We provide skills that can help them forge a trajectory in their career. And so for me, I've always wanted to like mix that education and also my interest in climate change. And so climate literacy is my focus, my main focus, climate literacy and communication, because they both go in hands, literacy and communication. For you to for you to promote climate literacy, you need to have quite special communication techniques and strategies for just science audience but non-scientific audience. And so I've always wanted my dissertation to be focused on that field. And so why I was trying to like find topics, the closest research interest that was available is a research by Liz Standler. She's one of ACDI contacts, and it's focused on climate literacy in Southern Africa, especially among rural women area. So basically, what I'm working on is I'll be working with the Rural Women Assembly. So they have like a diverse audience. It's like over 100,000 membership in different Southern African countries, and they have this literacy program. This literacy program directed at these rural women, and basically I'm trying to like find the questions on my main research question is what information is actually interested, do they actually need, because I think in the conversation of the green economy, conversation of sustainable development, climate change, we've seen so much divide between global north and global south. And based on my own experiences with working with NGOs, there's a large imposition of what climate literacy should be from the global north to the global south, without asking the receiver what they actually need. It's just like a kind of like information deficit model, like if they have information about this, they will act. And so I believe it's very important before you create any action, you need to ask the people, what exactly do you want? Is the information on greenhouse gases important for you? Is carbon market important for you? So, or do you just need information that can help you adapt to your crops, or that can help you adapt to? So those are the kind of conversations, the knowledge interests I'm very much interested in. So I'll be asking them, after maybe based on their own experiences and based on the training that they give to them, to ask them, okay, what specific information do you find to resonate with your lived experiences, or that you feel it's important for you? So this can help like organizations to tailor their climate literacy or communication perfectly with what they actually want.
So it's sort of like a bottom-up approach rather than a top-down.
So what is your, or how would you approach this fact or like knowledge gathering part of the work, and why in this specific case, would you focus, or would you work specifically with women in rural context?
Yeah.
Because climate change, and we hear it, or we experience it all the time, has a big equity and gender equity aspect to it. So how did this come about, and why do you think this is actually helpful?
So in Southern Africa, women play a very critical role when it comes to like food security. And I think according to IPCC, I don't know if it's according to IPCC or like research, that Southern Africa is an hotspot in climate change. That it will be very affected. And if you look at the dynamics of social justice, I think women are often at the front line of climate impacts. Their vulnerability, their exposure, and because climate change kind of intersects with various other social issues, like gender, all of that, like it's kind of like amplify other social issues. So it's very much important, like there's a focus on women, most important to women, on how to address climate change. And so like I said, the research was actually built on by the Rural Women Assembly, TCOE, and they're working on like a climate literacy program. And so I'm working with in very close contact with the organizations. So like they are the one setting the scene, and they are the one introducing me. So the aspect of positionality, coming to a space where it's been a women's space, how comfortable they are. So I will be working very closely with them. And why they continue doing their climate literacy program. So my main role is to after the program, to ask them the questions on which specific informations that was given that was important to them. And then the plan is to kind of like triangulate these questions to main themes of climate knowledge. So we have different climate knowledge domain. We have like maybe climate policy, we have mitigation, adaptation. So what specific domain is important to them. And this all boils down to the argument of like climate literacy should be more of a place-based literacy. So we should create climate literacy based on where they are from, because there's this research from one of our lecturers, Nick
Simpson.
Nick Simpson.
He
does a lot of work in that space.
I think he produced the first with Afrobarometer. He produced the first research that tries to like measure the level of climate literacy in Africa. And that was a very brilliant job, I would say.
It was a good paper. It really was a good study. I loved it.
I mean,
you must share it afterwards.
Yes.
I mean, I was surprised. I was surprised when, like, because I already read this paper before I came to ACDI. So there was a lot of pleasure when I found, okay, this Nick, I was already reading your paper, and look, I'm having access to you. So there's the conversation on climate literacy. Okay, he said I think according to the research, there were like, was it 37% of Africans was climate literate? And so the question, one of the basic questions I've always asked, what does it mean to be climate literate?
So it's a big question. Like, what does it mean to say I'm literate in climate change?
And we know the measurement of climate literacy can be different from global north and global south. So those of most, especially in the global north context, is often focused on emission. So if people doesn't know information about emission, but they know information about adaptation, like specific adaptation, does that mean they are climate illiterate? So we need to so we need to find a way. That's why I'm working towards on place-based system. We need to contextualize climate literacy based on where you from. If you are from a region where that is being affected by drought only, and you know information about drought only, you should qualify as climate literate. You shouldn't qualify. You shouldn't, because I don't know information about glaciers means like I'm not climate. So I think there needs to be a change in the conversation of climate literacy.
I'm like mind blown. I'm like, all my senses are going like, because of the gender issue that you actually did put out on the Southern African part. Mostly like women are at the center of like the everyday jobs, fetching water if you're in the rural space, So that means if there is no more water, they have to go further, or they have to make plans. And even with how they give knowledge to their kids or to their children, usually about climate change, because then if a woman knows something, then she will always be like telling the child, you need to be ready, you need to drink water, something of that sort. When the dad is at work, not that the dad is not going to do anything, but it's just the dynamic that usually women are at home and they're doing most of the things at home. And then it brings this place-based literacy, climate literacy, where you say, now if I'm in an area that is prone to droughts and not melting of ice, then if I know that climate change affects this part of my life and I do something about it in my area, then I'm climate literate.
Yeah.
But only if it's like a one size fits all, which is really not the case when you measure climate literacy. And it just brings me also to this question that I want to ask you. Now you're focusing on the southern part.
Yeah.
Are you planning on like taking it back home, or is it more of like when you say you're going to triangulate, are you going to like take what has not like really what has worked on the southern part and then take it home? But then are you planning on like working with someone from Nigeria to have the same, and then you have like Nigerian based climate literacy, and then you have like South Africa climate?
Yeah. So I think with regards especially climate issues in Africa, you know, maybe because of closer historical ties, or our issues are often very connected.
Yeah.
Like the issues that takes place in South Africa, women also have the same issues in Nigeria, in Congo, even North Africa.
Yeah.
And that's why it's very much likely that some things that works in this region, even though if it doesn't necessarily equate, can also like be applied, or can also be like provide like informations or solutions to other like strategies. And for me, I think because like I said, I've seen the way NGOs work in Nigeria and other Southern African countries. I just feel like there needs to be a rethink of the way climate literacy the strategies is being created in all this region. And I feel it's like from the argument of like the place-based climate literacy, I feel it needs to start from knowing, okay, this is what works among rural women. This is okay. Maybe we can say, okay, let's say in another sector, which climate literacy strategy is important for the sector. So by having these informations, we can. It's very easy to like kind of like impose it in Nigeria, kind of like create a space where like we can particularize it in Nigeria too. So for me, it's my main aim is more like to support the argument that okay, we need to understand these epistemological differences. We don't need we need to understand like there's a subtle neocolonialism when it comes to imposing what is needed in the global north to the global south context, and then there's a need for Africa to determine what they actually want. The climate literacy they actually want by starting from a bottom-up approach rather than like perhaps we don't necessarily, the fact that maybe you fund a project doesn't mean we need to like adapt to what works, what you want, but then from a bottom-up approach. So I feel like it's something that can be expanded.
So that virtually ties into your policy work, probably.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
So by educating, this is like the long shot is to actually create knowledge that can be then transferred into political action. Beyond trying to understand or finding out what the local adaptation needs are. Is giving the affected communities a voice.
I mean it's we can the importance of climate literacy is very crucial, and because it's when people feel connected to climate change that we can take action. So sometimes like the theory of information deficit that said once you give people information, it means they're gonna act. It doesn't work like that. I think that's so. It's important people connect to the climate issue.
Yeah.
And it's from a bottom up approach that they can feel connected to their lived experience, to tell you, okay, this is my lived experience and this is what I want to know. It's from that bottom up approach that we can like galvanize like communities and people to take bigger action.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's why the IPCC, I think what was in which report, and they actually like emphasize on the importance of climate literacy and climate informations on addressing climate change. Yeah, so yeah.
I have a question for the whole room, right?
Yeah.
So now we're talking about climate literacy, and it's good that we're from all different
Is it going to be a
areas.
quiz?
No, it's not going to be a quiz. Trust me. It's just a question, like out of interest. I'm thinking, in my context, it might be the same context for Yanela, because I'm from Zimbabwe, she's from South Africa. We're like next to each other, so we might have like similar answers. But just out of interest, I want to ask what climate knowledge would mean in your country. So we have Zimbabwe, we have South Africa, we have Nigeria, we have Germany. For me, I would say what climate knowledge would mean, I would be interested in knowing like the impacts, connecting it to the impacts, but not necessarily what causes it. In my context, I would want to know how to adapt to droughts. It's one of the things that really affects Zimbabwe. Like, we are amazed. We really, like, our staple food is from maize. And when a drought comes, then that means we're going to have to take it from somewhere. We're going to have to buy it from somewhere. And floods, sometimes when we get like a flood-ish, like, like a nudge from a flood that happened in Mozambique or something of that sort. So for me, I think I would want that climate knowledge based off of droughts. What does it mean? What are the early warning signs in the Zimbabwean context? And Yonela?
I have a very localized take. You know how in South Africa there's a lot of informal settlements. They're everywhere you go. Every metro, they're there. So now, and there's this, in the EGS department, there's a researcher there that's interested on the internal, no, it was an honor student really, the internal dynamics of, like in the informal structure, how the temperatures, air quality is compared to outside, and then how does that affect health. And then I was thinking in terms of temperature, if you live in a metal house, and then heat is going into the metal, and then the heat that's inside, I think it's significantly higher than outside could be. And now I'm an interesting research that would be how are people affected differently based on their dwellings when it comes to heat waves rather. So that would be what I'm interested
because it could be very different from someone who's staying in an informal settlement and someone who's actually staying
in an air-conditioned house,
like just down the road, and they're in a flat
or in an RDP.
RDP
does not have any air conditioning or whatever, but it's still a formal structure with ceilings. So that's very different from an informal structure. So
we take it to, who should we start with? I'm gonna start with Philip.
You have the honor to be.
You have the honor to close
the last
to close this question.
No, thank you. It's a great question, and I started thinking about it clearly earlier, but also when you mentioned that the debate on climate literacy is very much global north centered or driven, and a lot of times focuses on mitigation, not on adaptation, and even less so on loss and damage. And I totally agree. So, and I guess also taken into account like specific local conditions, like Germany is where I'm from, is in a temperate climatic zone. So there's usually relatively much rainfall, not too hot or too cold temperatures. But there are some heat waves, some extreme weather events that have not been experienced in the past. But there are also more funds to immediately potentially adapt.
Yeah.
So the discussion really is about mitigation, and a lot of times from a business focused perspective, right? So it's the carbon market. How do we support businesses navigate regulatory requirements?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw yesterday, the European Union released their updated climate goals ahead of the COP13 in Berlin that starts next Monday, as we're all very excited for. And hopefully we'll get live updates from some of our climate risk lab members. But yeah, it's basically about trying to navigate that space for the benefit of companies, for benefit of clearly like workforce and employment. It's a very, very different focus.
Yeah.
And yeah, people think about adaptation and loss and damage, also looking beyond Europe, looking beyond Germany, but much less.
That's interesting.
That's cool.
And
okay, yeah.
Kim?
My turn.
Yes, Kim.
Okay, so before I reply this, I had a project when I was in my final year, and which I have run in the past years. It's called Lens for Social Change. So basically, the idea was to use photography and film to communicate climate change. Yeah. Because I feel like like we've been having conversations, the climate conversation can be very technical, and we need to like find a way that can resonate with people. Yeah. And then when we talk about photography and film, they're very like they're universal languages that you can use to communicate with people. So some of the ideas was like to I wanted to like go out to film. Well, I couldn't do that because of fundings. So I tried to reach out to quite some big media companies, like Waterbeer. I don't know if you've come across Waterbeer, and some other platform, and get some ready-made access to film. So what we actually did was we went to some schools to screen movies. Okay. And we also had like a community screening where like I collected access. I requested for access for photographs and use. And there was something I noticed when I was in some of the schools, because we went to two universities. We went to university and also like some other like high school. But something I noticed about my experience was like when we're talking about like the science of climate change. Yeah. These students, audience, didn't really like enjoy the science, like the whole science of climate change. Like the greenhouse gas, there's the nitrous oxide, there's the blah blah. They feel so disconnected with the world conversation. Yeah. But then when we screen this movie, I'm trying to remember this movie about the Sahel project, the green wall. Have you watched the Green Wall documentary? No. Yeah. On the Great Green Wall.
Basically planting trees in the Sahel region.
Yeah, so there was a documentary by this African actress.
It was on Netflix for a while.
Yeah, potentially. Yes. So we screened. I got the access to screen the movie from the producers, and we screened this movie. And this movie just basically talks about the impacts of climate change from drought, how people migrate, and some other things. Yeah. And there was so much interest in this because they connected to this. And in fact, when we screened the movie in the community, and when you invited people were very interested. Like people in university were like, how can I'm very enthusiastic about climate change, and I'm studying law. Is there a chance to this work with climate law? People are very interested. So to sum the reply up, I feel like things like climate science, the science of climate science, might just feel much disconnected. And I feel personally, I would feel like information about adaptations, mitigation is also important too. Maybe information about adaptation and also policy, how people can take government accountable for the impacts of climate change are some of the knowledge that people actually want, or some of the information or literacy that people actually want. So this is based on my own personal experience, and also interacting with different people. Yeah. So that's funny.
Wow, I like that we have different takes, and it's like no one size fits all. Yeah. And I love it. I just have one question for you before we wrap it up. Yeah. This is just from your personal opinion. What would you want someone who would be listening to this or watching this to just know about climate change? We're giving you like 30 seconds. And I'm like, tell me something that will like, I know it's like not one size fits all, but like just grab my attention so that when I go like, yeah, but what was he saying? I should look this up.
Elevator pitch.
Elevator pitch. Climate change communication.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
You meet someone random in the street and they're like, yeah, what do you do? And then you're like, climate change. They're like, are you talking about the ozone layer? Because someone actually said that about when I told them that I'm doing climate change. They were like, are you talking about the ozone layer? I'm like, no. Let me lay you down softly and tell you this.
Yeah. I mean, if I want to talk about, if I meet someone random that maybe they're not enthusiastic about climate change, the first thing I will let them know it's every aspect of their life is being affected by climate change.
True.
I can just ask them, give me an example. Is it education, the floodings, blah blah? Is it domestic violence, heat waves, blah blah? Is it in every aspect of their life?
Yeah.
And I feel when people know that every aspect of their life is being affected by climate change,
then you want to know more and you want to do something about it.
So it's all about letting them, okay, you are affected. You don't feel like it's distance. Give them the reason why they are affected. Yeah. And once they know, people will be very much more enthusiastic to like want to take action. And also in a non-marginalized language, like, more inclusive. Okay, this is how we can do this. This is your problem. This is my problem, and this is how we can like
do something about it.
Yeah.
Philip, Yanela, you have anything for Kim?
No, that's all for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, thank you. I think this was a great like final comment for the episode.
Yeah.
Let's try to find a way, perhaps, if you're comfortable, to share some information of the work that you do and perhaps organizations that you work with as part of the podcast afterwards. I think there's an opportunity to share some.
Yeah. I would really like to know like a whole lot about what you're doing right now, what you've done before, resources that you think would be important for anyone, even us, for us to use to also do this. Because I really love this episode because we have someone who is very passionate about climate change and communication and literacy. And it's mainly what we're trying to do. We were trying to communicate climate change and what it means for and everyday people, what would it mean? Like every aspect of your life is really affected by climate change. So thank you so much, Kim, for joining us.
Thank you. It's great.
And thank you guys for joining us today. We will see you next week and we'll talk more things climate change. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.